So I just want to welcome everyone. We've been doing these calls now for several weeks, and I know most of you know Mynoo. There are a few people out there that this is your first time being introduced to Mynoo and her work. And I'm so fortunate to have worked with Mynoo for now almost 10 years. And when I describe Mynoo, it's both business genius and spiritual wisdom. Those two things are intertwined in this beautiful divine being that she is. So Mynoo was a person that was doing what we do in life, going to work, working hard, a serial business entrepreneur, buying and selling companies. And she was even a movie producer and had a calling to go to Bali. And maybe that was the moment where she said yes to something that she wasn't quite sure if she should, but she did. She took that on. And 9 years later, she was still receiving downloads. So, sometimes we're asked, do we? And she said yes, and she did. And so today, Mynoo is still receiving downloads, even as of right now. So I'm so excited that she's going to bring us all together tonight to take us on a journey into the unknown. It will be the last in this series. And as information comes into her, she will be sharing that with us. I'm also excited that the work that she's been cultivating about how to live an extraordinary life is being launched this weekend with a special group. She may be able to share a little bit more on that. But we are very, very excited to spend the next hour with Mynoo as she leads us into the unknown. And I'm just going to turn it over to her to get started. And thank you all for being here. And thank you, Mynoo, for allowing us to be on the journey with you.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you and welcome to everyone that is a part of this call. And particularly, like Mary, who is in Ireland. It's like 1:30 in the morning there. So we have little nodes from different parts of the world that are on this call. And everything is such an energetic significance right now. The fact that we are crossing, so many oceans and seas and there's such expanses of land, with me being here in India and, touching into England with Mary and Sonia there and all of you there in America. Like literally the vibrational connections that we have across the planet are holographically multiplied. So, my job at this time as we are all navigating the unknown is to bring clarity to each one of you in your own way so you can start navigating the unknown in your way. So last time I talked about two pathways of navigating the unknown. I want to talk about a couple of things and then just share at a headline level 2 or 3 other pathways. And then the rest of the sharing is going to occur through answering questions. So we made a conscious choice this time to do a particular focus on the questions. So a couple of things that I want to share, is many of you have heard me talk about how nature is demonstrating to us that it can reclaim itself faster than humans can fix it. I mean, really, it's an unequivocal message. It isn't about what are we going to do about the environment. It's like, if it hasn't already shown you enough evidence, then you don't have to go far to look for it. Nature isn't saying, fix me. It's not about fixing. It isn't even about fixing us. It really is about returning to our truth and allowing that reclaiming to occur. And that is what is happening with nature. How it showed up this week, like literally every week, I'm picking up some new things that are happening in different parts of the world. I happen to be in India right now, which is so rich in so many issues in terms of air quality and water quality and all that sort of stuff. So this last week, we witnessed over 150,000 flamingos arrive at this backwaters area, which has been reclaimed and lots of construction is happening there. So that was the usual place that flamingos would arrive. And it literally got covered in pink for more than 150,000 of these flamingos. And this was a really worrying issue for the last several years, that there would only be a few thousand that would be able to arrive. And this year, they were all there, you know? So it wasn't that flamingos were becoming extinct or there was something deeply wrong with the environment here. Well, you know, all it needed was the vibrational proliferation of it's okay to return. An okayness vibe is what is setting in. And that is a vibe that is predominant vibe of trees and nature. And as that okayness vibe is spreading, it's like that communication. You know, many of you who've done my work have heard me say, everything is connected. You know, the trees communicate with each other, even when we, you know, burn down forests or chop them up and build concrete buildings. There is a connection that continues through the root system, through the spores, and we are seeing that happen across the planet. So in the context of navigating the unknown, you know, this week has been quite different. There are certain systems, you know, the financial markets have been very interesting, how they panned out, you know, in terms of the hedging against oil prices, and that's like in a free fall right now. Forex was negative, and many other issues that are literally surfacing. There's an automatic clear out and clean out that is occurring. And as I answer the questions, you will start to see, you know, that it is the time for us to start allowing nature in us to surface. Now, that is one of the pathways of navigating the unknown. You know, in the space of unknown, you know, another pathway is about not taking anything for granted. What can you take for granted now? And when you don't take anything for granted, and you start to allow, you actually start to realize that the stuff that you were afraid about, that were you standing on the strong footing, you realize actually you are solid. You are standing on the foundation of what you have created in this lifetime. And you may be anxious and worried about whatever experiences you might have had in the past. And yet there is sufficient of you still there that is solidifying the foundation on which you are standing. If this experience was a call, it really is a calling to come home. And it's a calling to come home to you. You know, many of us who are involved in the spiritual circles have heard about, you know, heaven on earth. Is this actually going to happen? Is this the time that it's meant to happen? Is this the time that it is happening? Well, really, the message I received very loud and clear this week was, it is heaven as earth. Nature is getting that message. You know, Simpson clouds across blue skies in India. And you've heard me say this every week, you know, pollution index, air quality in Delhi being 17, Switzerland's is 25, and only a few months ago it was over 500. Flamingos arriving in the backwaters of Mumbai, which is supposed to be so flooded with chemicals that these flamingos were not able to come. And just a year later, here they are. So what this allowing is doing, when you embody allowing as one of your pathways, it allows flow to happen. You know, and when the allowing is not there and you're very attached to one thing or the other, which is coming from the past, it's as if we are creating our own blocks. I mean, really, we already are in a new norm. The new norm is here. I mean, think about it for yourself. Is there a new practice that you created for yourself during this time of social distancing? Is there a new belief that you've formulated for yourself? Is there a new perspective that has become available to you? Having this prolonged space to experience distancing and experience lockdown. And I'm in India where we are very strict lockdown. We cannot even go down into, I live in an apartment block which has walking paths and all that. Can't do any of that. You can't go and walk in your own building either. And you absolutely cannot leave the gates. You have to have a very good reason to do that. Now, it may feel like, oh, we are imprisoned, but actually, when I look at all those people that are out there that are still, serving the rest of us so we can be safe in our homes, I've developed the practice of noticing, literally almost moment by moment, how much there is to be grateful for. Even this realization that, we create this, something that Gaurav was sharing with me yesterday. It was a massive realization that, in India at least, you have the maids that come and work for you, and there is a distance. There's a social distance. They are of a different class. They wear different clothes. They come, do the work, and leave. You would not imagine that they're going to do the work and sit on the sofa and have a cup of tea, because it's like, oh, no, it's dirty. They're cleaning the place. Well, maids aren't allowed in our homes right now. They haven't been allowed for the last several weeks. So we are cleaning and sweeping our own homes. And we are sitting on the sofa and having a cup of tea. There is a shift that is occurring. I make it a point to speak to my maid, the one who has served me for all this time. I speak to her every day. Because I'm very aware that she's living in circumstances which is very congested. So, it's important to keep her vibe uplifted. And, her sharing with me is phenomenal. It's one of people coming together. And a couple of things just to remind everyone to really I call it the virus of the crown. It's really an opening of the crown for humans. And it is the way it is panning out, the way it is going across the planet. And, even the whole fear, the pandemic is, okay, you can call it the viral pandemic. I would say that it was a pandemic of fear as a vibration. And that has been hijacked by the divine. And how humans are reacting to it and how they are meant to isolate themselves is being utilized by the divine. And remember, each one of us, we have our spirit guides. We have our guardian angels. They are in communication with us all the time. We've become so busy that we don't allow that communication to even, register with us. By creating this space, that communication is being enabled. And we may see it in different ways. We may see it in the form of signs. A friend of mine who's at the big island in Hawaii at the moment, she sent me photographs of the clouds the last 3 days, right? And 2 days, you had very clear heart-shaped clouds. Fluffy white clouds against the blue sky shaped like a heart. And then she sent me 2 photographs of a white rainbow that have taken place. And that's her. And there's something else that I got from Australia, which is again a hardship. So it's showing up in different ways, and we have the time to notice. And when you allow yourself, all you have to allow yourself to do is to receive. Whatever it is that is choosing to come to you and be in your reality at this point in time. Allow yourself to receive. Notice how you feel about it. Not because you're going to do something about it. You just notice how you feel about it with the intention that you will consciously, unconditionally accept what is. This time, like no other, take nothing for granted. Unconditional acceptance of what is. Trust. These are all pathways. And trust in what? When you can take nothing for granted. Well, trust in you. We never associated this trust part in us. I'm so glad that Connie is on this call. She was the first one to introduce the whole idea of the trust frequency to me. And sure enough, Connie, you and Andrew played a role in anchoring that frequency on the planet for it to be available to all right now. And as you start trusting yourself, you actually go to that place of remembrance. And that remembrance is dignity. Dignity is honoring of your own worthiness. The scale of uncertainty, not having an end date, all these stories about, is it going to repeat itself, all that stuff, it could cause people to have nervous breakdowns left, right, and center. It's not happening that way. It's not playing out that way. It's not that people are not experiencing gripping fear. They are. And they're finding a way of settling it themselves. They may get over busy at times trying to, flick through channels on Netflix or whatever it is. But after a while, there's so much time that is there on their hands that they are able to come back into their center. There is a tolerance of themselves that has occurred. And I say to people, this is the time for zero tolerance. Those of you who've done my work, you've heard me say, just choose what is it that you are going to stop tolerating in yourself. Don't worry about the outside. The outside world reflects what's going on inside. So here I am in the same world that we have scientists and we have, doomsday merchants and we have news anchors, all of these people reporting the same world, right? They're seeing it from their perspective. And I'm connecting the dots, not, taking into account the statistical stuff that is happening, taking into account the factual stuff. And I'm connecting the dots to see what's there that is going on that is making my heart sing. You've heard me talk about miracles. If you start maintaining your own miracle journal at this time and start jotting what is it that is making your heart sing, the fact that your heart is beating despite this crazy fear or whatever it is that you might be concerned about, your heart is beating, that is a song of the heart. It is only singing because there is a miracle there for you to take note of. What is that? And you have the time to actually jot these down and keep track of these. So a few pathways that I have sort of referred to. There's trust is the first one. Trust in you. Take nothing for granted. Have unconditional acceptance of what is. But just being blasé about, all right, then I'm just going to accept this. No. It is not an unconditional acceptance. Unconditional acceptance, the quality of unconditional acceptance is you are real. You see it for whatever it is that is being shown to you. You hear and listen to how you are feeling about it. You honor yourself. You may even speak about how you're experiencing what is being shown to you. And having done all of that, then you go into, okay, all of that is here. That's so. And I choose to unconditionally accept what is. Allow. Step into the allowing. This is the mega boot camp of allowing. Allowing allows flow to occur. We have Mary Malloy from Ireland on the call here. And one of her body of work is biodynamic medicine, which is done through the gut. The whole diagnosis is done through the gut. Gut is another brain that you've heard me talk about. And, whenever there is any form of emotional distress or anxiety or anything at all that might occur in our life, there are parts of the gut that get blocked. And the gut is connected to every organ in our body. And a biodynamic practitioner works through that. Sometimes it is speaking to the person, sometimes it is Reiki, sometimes it is just holding the space. And the moment you get into the space of allowing, the tightness releases and the peristalsis returns. It allows you to find your own rhythm. We've never taken the time. We've always had one reason or another. I know Catherine was raising earlier on, maybe things might have progressed, but maybe we would not have been here this fast. Well, there has to be a divine hand, because not only things have progressed, it's like literally a new norm has got created, and it is affecting everyone across the world. There is a unity that is starting to occur. And when a family goes through a crisis together, we are there, we hold the space, we know that there's a closeness that happens when that occurs. And these disparate races, disparate nations, disparate social status, all of those things that separated us, that created this whole concept of celebrating diversity, which actually kept us distant from each other and actually propagated conflicts. It's like the sameness is what is becoming more available to us. We're starting to notice that we all really are the same, actually. We're all affected in the same way. The rich, the poor, the educated, the not uneducated, the blacks, the whites, all of us are affected in the same way. When you find your flow, which happens from allowing, what happens then is that your organs within you start to remember their originating intent, and they start getting into flow. And when that occurs, you are able to reclaim your own well-being much faster than anything out there can fix it. Allowing brings us into that rhythm that nature is at. It brings us into a space of our truth. It's all connected. Nature is giving us this message. Many of us here have been part of the whole environment action, the climate change anxiety and worries. And this whole, yesterday somebody was telling me, I really hope people get that we shouldn't be treating the environment in the way that we've been doing up to now. Listen, just get this. The Earth Day this time was the Earth call to us. I'm here. Ground out your anxieties and concerns. And know that I am the boss. And I will reclaim myself as I'm showing you that I can. Know that you can do that too. I talked about the fire element was going to begin when I was introducing the 2020 energies, and then it was going to be followed by air. Coronavirus is the air element, and the next one was going to be earth. So the earth element is showing up in a very interesting way. Yes, there are some. We had an earthquake in Delhi. There was an earthquake in Los Angeles. But earth element, and neither of them were massive. They were there. The earth element is showing up in a very interesting way. It's like each one of us is armed now with our own red button, And the rumblings that have taken place in these parts of the world are really saying, hey, I'm here. So if there's anything that gets you out of congruence within yourself, press your red button. Your energetic red button, you have it. Just press that and I'll take it. Knowing that I'm on the path to reclaiming myself, and there's more than enough evidence across all living beings that is being shown, and also within human beings that is happening. There's a shift in the kind of messaging that is being shared now. Shift in the kind of humor and celebration that is being shared across on social media and other such things. There's a co-creation, collaboration of coexistence that is starting to take shape between competing artists, between competing industrialists, between competing nations.